Board of Education, and I ask that you would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll get right to it and start with our special celebrations. Dr. Ashley Stevens.
I almost don't fit up here.
It is massive.
President Foley, board members, Superintendent Hardesty, Councilor Hornbuckle Myers, it is great to be with you. We have one celebration this evening, but as you can see behind me, it is worth several. This is one of our larger groups, and this celebration is something I don't think I've ever had the privilege of saying before. We have a 13-time state champion in our group. For the 13th year in a row, your Cabell Midland Marching Knights are the West Virginia State Champion Marching Band. In addition to this unprecedented run, they also captured their 4th consecutive Governor's Cup. Mr. Carinelli has aptly taken the reins of the best band in the land and continued Midland's proud history of excellence. In addition to the state championship title, the Marching Knights also received the following nods at the West Virginia Marching Band Invitational. Class A, Auxiliary, 1st place. Drum Major, 2nd place. Percussion, 1st place. Overall Band, 1st place. In the Gold Division, Best Overall Marching and Overall Best Music and Grand Champion. Honor Band Grand Champion. Governor's Cup Class A 1st place, and overall Governor's Cup Grand Champion. Congratulations to all the student musicians and the Cabell Midland Marching Knights, Mr. Carinelli, and all the families and boosters for this amazing year. I'm going to invite Mr. Carinelli up, Drum Major Marcus Blanks, and then we will finish with Cabinet Secretary Randall Reed-Smith.
Well, thank you guys for honoring this great group of musicians. It's been an excellent year. It's been probably more nerve-wracking for me than for any of them. I had big shoes to fill from 2 great directors before me, and it was a pleasure to really continue that tradition of excellence that Cabell Midland's marching band and music department as a whole has been known for in working with these kids this summer and getting our show on the field. They put a lot of long hours in, as you guys would know, and Ms. Smalley, you would definitely know. Many, many late nights at the field. But throughout the year, they took every win and every loss with dignity, and we did take 2 losses this year that they just shook off and had fun. One thing that Cabinet Secretary Randall has told me every time he saw me is that the kids look like they're enjoying what they're doing, and that's really what we've tried to foster in the program. So I'm just excited to be able to stand here with them today and with our drum majors, Marcus Blanks, Riley Mead, and Isabel Anderson, and to be able to be honored at the board with the trophies that they rightfully earned this year. Thank you so much.
Once again, I would just like to extend thanks to you for, sorry, he's a bit shorter than me. Extend thanks for recognizing us. This has been a very hard-working season. Once again, we've the past couple of seasons, we've had a couple of director changes, and this has been a hard season for us. It's one where we had to bounce back after a very major expenditure going to all the way to Bands of America last season. So we had to put in a lot of hard work this season, and to stand up here and be recognized and stand up here next to this trophy for the 13th state championship is a great feeling. And once again, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome from Ono, West Virginia, your 13-time consecutive and current West Virginia State High School marching band champions and winners of the 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 West Virginia Governor's Cup Marching Band Series. The marching band is under the direction of Jordan Carinelli, Miss Julie Johns, and Matt Lorison. The Marching Knights are led into this meeting tonight by drum major and Cabell Midland High School homecoming king and National Merit Scholar semifinalist Marcus Blanks, assisted by Riley Meads and Isabel Andersons. I'm off my script. The one runner-up, they were the first West Virginia band, so the other band does not count. Okay, so they won 7 marching band grand champions. And I think the other number that you need to know, we hosted 11 competitions in 7 weeks, 10 regionals. Of that, the smallest competition was 14, the largest was 24. So we had 171 bands in those first 6 weeks. Add the 38 bands and the 11 drum lines, you're looking well over 200 people that they beat. So it is a tradition that they carry on. They are the best band in the land. They are the pride of Cabell County, the Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights. So we have, yes, give them a big hand. I have proclamations from the governor. The governor, I just was with him all day today. He's sorry he couldn't be here, but he is coming to school to present the cup. And of course, his sidekick baby dog will be with him. So there you go. All right. State of West Virginia. Jim Justice, Governor. Whereas the Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights, under the direction of Jordan Carinelli, Julie Carper, and Matthew Lorson, performed at the 2024 West Virginia State Marching Band Championships, and whereas the Cabell Midland Marching Knights were named the 2024 West Virginia State Marching Band Champions and honor band of the 2024 West Virginia State Marching Band Championships for their outstanding performance of their show Up in Flames, and also won the West Virginia Governor's Cup Series Championships for the 4th consecutive year, and whereas Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights are the current and 13th consecutive title-winning state marching band champions, completing the 2024 marching band season with 7 grand championships. And whereas the Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights has performed exceptional marching, concert, and jazz programs since its inception in 1994. And whereas the Marching Knights' success is a testament to the hard work, perseverance, and commitment of each student and staff member whose tireless efforts have propelled the band to the pinnacle of achievement in the state. And whereas the achievements of the Marching Knights inspired all West Virginians, young and old, to pursue excellence, embrace teamwork, and strive to achieve their goals with dedication and discipline. And whereas the Marching Knights' remarkable accomplishments served as a source of pride for Cabell Midland High School community, the city of Ona, and the entire state of West Virginia, and whereas this year's senior class remained undefeated in the West Virginia State High School Marching Band Championships and the West Virginia Governor's Cup Series during their 4 years as members of the Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights. Now therefore I, Jim Justice, the great governor of the great state of West Virginia, do hereby bestow upon the Cabell Midland High School Marching Knights this certificate of recognition given under my hand and the great seal of the state of West Virginia this 19th day of November in the year of our Lord, 2024. Signed, James C. Justice II, Governor and soon to be Senator. There you go. Julie. I called you by your maiden name earlier. I'm sorry. That's how I know you. There you go. And blessed are the brief, but I would like to add this. In the 14 years we've done this, this competition has become not only the most prestigious and the most prominent, preeminent all West Virginia state band competition. This year had the absolute most outstanding top 10 bands in the state of West Virginia, which was declared by the judges. I congratulate you for keeping this streak going. We are very proud of you, especially in the best end of the Cabell County, the East End. Thank you, kids.
All right, friends, we're going to get a picture. If we can have all of our band members up, please.
This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Those sweet potatoes in yet?
The moles got my sweet potatoes. That has never happened. I mean, it's not like I've been doing it for decades, but yeah, it was.
I think bowls are cute.
Did you all wear red?
Just have to fry up the moles this winter then.
We killed a lot last year. There were mounds all across our front yard. We put traps out. We killed a lot of them then. But they moved to the backyard and into the sweet potatoes.
I've actually got a big rat mound next to my apartment, actually behind Faux You and Me. There's got to be 100 rats in there back there. You hear them chirping in the evenings, and there's big holes bored out, and you'll see them running like through the trees. It's awful. Yeah. Occasionally I'll go back there, and there'll be some squished in the alley. Like I've never seen rat as roadkill before, but it exists. They must like being near the water, because I'm right there across from the river.
Probably do. Probably do.
You're not far from the river either.
Oh, no, no, no. 150 feet.
I was like, I don't want to not be the one to knock
Knock it over.
Taking action on it, but I got her number. Rebecca Gray at the Wild Range.
That is quite an accomplishment. When you think about championship traditions, a three-peat is, unheard of, a three-peat. And then when you think about 13 in a row, it's just really unfathomable that any group could put that together. And I'm glad that it's here at our Cabell Midland High School. Congratulations.
Woo.
You want me to tell them they can leave? Yeah.
Yeah, if you came for the celebration and you're wishing to make an exit, you may go ahead and do that, and we'll pause and let you clear out. Thank you for coming. Okay, I think we're ready for an update in instruction and leadership. Kelly Watts.
Always the hardest part of the agenda to follow something like that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to actually turn it back over to Dr. Stevens because we have the survey data that we collected from our parent conference in October that we want to share with you. And I believe she gave you a handout to follow along. So Dr. Stevens, she does help my division too.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Watts. All right, guys, so for some background knowledge on this parent-teacher meeting day, families can always initiate a parent-teacher conference. Teachers can initiate it at their request or when they see a need for a student. However, since before COVID, there has not been a formalized plan set aside to have these intentional conversations. It's just, I'm worried about, my child's performance, or I noticed, my student is having this issue. And so in order to be proactive and to set aside that time, and also to kind of create a culture that these are important conversations and they're a part of our annual, going on of school, we set this aside 2 years ago. So last year was the first year of data, and I would have told you standing here this time last year, oh my gosh, this went as well as it possibly could. I can't imagine it going any better. Yay. It went so well. We had great attendance. Our families could not say enough nice things about their experiences. And if I could encapsulate them all, like I'm AI, it went. I had a wonderful time with teacher. I love that my child is at school. This was a fantastic experience. There was a ton of praise for the schools, a ton of praise for the work of our teachers. And so it was so uplifting to get to see. So we did it again, and I kind of held my breath, as you do when you put out a survey that you don't know the results of until you get it back. And I thought, even if we can't match it, as long as it's positive, I'm going to feel really good about this. And if you guys go through the change, which is in green, they were all fantastic and so much better than even last year. I want to bring a few to your attention. We asked some very simple questions. Were staff members able to make meaningful contact? And 78%, which is a 14% increase, said yes. Parents and caregivers and grandparents felt more equipped to help their child academically. 96% of the ones that spent time with us felt like they were better able to help their kids when they were done spending time with us. I feel like that's huge. That's why we do these things. And that was a big increase. I did do the math twice because there's a lot of 23s, and it made me really nervous, like when you get 3 letter C's in a test, but I did it. It's real. For our staff, moving forward, I'll feel more comfortable reaching out to families. That speaks to building those relationships. And, it's easier to reach out with bad news when you've had a good relationship already. That was 71%, which was also an increase. Back to our families, the school offered resources that were helpful for my family, 95%. And this was not a traditional parent-teacher conference. You come in, it's 20 minutes of me telling you how great your kid is or what they need to work on. We challenged our schools to put together workshops and resource tables and make it very interactive, not just while you're with your child's teacher, but also while you're on campus. So are you meeting with local nonprofits to hear about the resources they have to offer your families? Are you learning about how to get registered on Schoology so you can keep up after today? Those types of things. This next one makes my heart so happy. We asked both of them if they felt supported and like a member of the team. The parent question was, I feel like an important part of my child's academic team. To the staff, it was, I feel like we're on the same team working together for the kids. And you guys can see the data, 98% of families and 89% of staff. So if we are leaving this experience feeling like we're on the same team and that student growth is our goal, we did what we came here to do. And then the event being a good use of our time, 97 and 68, and both of those were an increase. Questions about the table or the changes year to year?
No, it's really good to see such a positive impact because connections with our family is core and key to having a successful school system. And it's just important to see this kind of result out of that time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. You guys can check out the feedback from teachers and the feedback from parents. I was very surprised and pleased to see that teachers were asking, can we do this again, kind of in a mirrored way in the spring? I don't know that we have the schedule and capacity for that, but I love that they wanted that. And with the parent feedback, there's one I want to draw your attention to. It's the longest one. It's the 4th one down. And it talks about appreciating their flexibility, knowing that the teachers put a lot of work into getting ready for this meeting, knowing that their child was cared about, and that the people on staff wanted what's best for them. My kids love school, and that's because they each have teachers that care about their classrooms. So I feel like that's the thing. There are always opportunities for refinement. Scheduling is hard because teacher schedules and parent schedules don't jive on days like this. We have to wait until parents are off of work oftentimes, and then that bumps when it's appropriate to ask our school people to be there. So we keep trying to play with that. Last time we did it from 11 to 7. This time we did 10 to 6, and I think that worked for everybody. They also asked about days of the week. For the last 2 years, we've done it on a Tuesday. Moving forward in the calendar adoption process, they have an option on a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday. So if there are preferences, we'll get to see them there. And then finding ways for our parents to be teachers and also to be parents is really, really tough. Originally, I was like, oh, we'll just take out 2 hours and let them go like meet with all their people. Logistically, if you do that, there's no one for them to meet with because they're all gone. So I still haven't figured out how to bend space and time to make that work, but we're working on it, and we are working with principals to say, as you're able, be flexible and make this work. So that's the recap. We're really pleased. We do have it included as an option for the next 2 years of the calendar because it was so favorably received. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about what we've done or what we can do or what it should be. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to update in operations and support. Mr. Boggs.
Board President Pauly, board members, superintendent, general counsel. I'm going to have a brief update, but first, before I go into this, I do want to thank. I always tend to thank our service personnel because it's absolutely amazing what they do on a daily basis. I know last week, Milton Middle School, I got a phone call about 5:30 in the morning, and many people did get text messages, different things like that the kitchen was flooded at 5:30 in the morning. It looked like a water park in the cafeteria at Milton. However, you would not be, when you saw, I wish I did have the video and I could show that to you, you would not think they'd be able to have school that day or be able to serve lunch or breakfast or any of those things. But just the coordination of people like Johnny Ryder, the maintenance department, the plumbers, the cooks, they were able to change their menu, and the custodian and administration, everybody, get that kitchen cleaned up. And by the time I got there at about 6:15, everything was cleaned up. It was like nothing ever happened. It's absolutely unbelievable, the folks we have and the ability we have to have school. And also, and on not only just the service personnel and things they do, we also have administrators in the district. They see and deal with things that sometimes are unimaginable, and we're blessed that they do those things and pray and their thoughts and our prayers and what they deal with on a daily basis. So I do appreciate all of our employees. But so just a few things. We got policy updates. We do have one thing two things on first reading, and that is 3421 timely payment of insurance premiums. This is for service personnel and professional personnel. This was at the direction of Drew with PEIA to kind of align with PEIA. So that was on first reading today for you to review. We also have second reading policies. We have one on attendance, embedded credit, and virtual education. The attendance is just updated to reflect West Virginia State Code. And then embedded credit outlines sequencing and technical changes that Ms. Scarberry had put forth. And then there's also clarification on virtual education on the removal process for that, since we did revise virtual education this year. So moving on to, we've got a few agenda items, and I've got a longer presentation later on about real estate and property and everything. I'll come back to that later when we get to that board item. Do have two other things on there that are important to note, and that is 4.05 police officers for traffic at Milton Police Department. What this is an agreement with the Milton Police Department. As you know, we are opening the new Milton Elementary School on Newman's Branch very, very soon in December, and students will, ribbon cutting on December 17th, and students will start after the first of the year, a little bit of a delayed start for those students. But one of the things from the community is we have been working with highways and Kiowa and a grant and everything. There is works to be able to do some traffic adjustments and signals and different things like that. Those are down the road. But in the meantime, we have an agreement worked out with Milton Police Department to be able to provide 3 officers in the morning and 3 officers on arrival and dismissal on the intersection of 60 and Newman's Branch Road. So we appreciate Milton Police Department for being able to help us out with that and ensure the safety of our students and the community on Route 60 there in Milton when the traffic, because it is going to be an adjustment with that traffic through that. And we appreciate the State Road and Kiowa for their support. I don't have a direct timeline on that, but they're actively in the works of getting working with engineers and stuff like that. You all had approved last year a traffic study, and what that does is allow them to go after federal grants and stuff for that. So we're excited about that we can work with them. And 4.12 is a purchase of tack boards for the new Milton Elementary School. This is $8,161.33. This will be put in the hallways of the school. This is just for the delivery of the tack boards or cork boards and different things like that, bulletin boards and display artwork and things like that in the hallway. And our maintenance department, to cut down on the cost, they will be installing that once it arrives, and they can go in and put that in the school. So and we also need to do the same thing for Davis Creek Elementary. Patrick, Mr. O'Neill is working with a couple vendors to get some quotes on that, and then I'll be bringing that in front of the board as well for them in their school. And then as far as personnel changes, we do not have any changes for today's meeting. So that concludes my updates. Are there any questions or anything I need to clarify? Thank you.
Okay, communication from the superintendent, Mr. Hardesty.
Thank you, President Pauly. I want to begin by discussing briefly Veterans Day. Last Monday, we celebrated Veterans Day. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the men and women who have served our country. Their dedication and sacrifice make it possible for us to safely meet at events like this and keep our focus on serving students. Several of our schools completed projects, lessons, and presentations to honor our veterans, and we're grateful to the staff and students who prioritized the important celebration. Midterm grades were released yesterday. It's hard to believe. We're rolling right along. That's the second 9 weeks. So we're now in the last segment of the first semester. That 9 weeks will conclude on December 20th, and then we have that break before we begin our second semester. Cabell County Schools Foundation, a lot of people don't understand what they are, but the Cabell County Schools Foundation is made up of a group of retired educators and community members that are trying to further instruction and student activities and access to education. Each month we meet with them, and it's a nonprofit dedicated to serving students, staff, and schools of the county. They do great work, and we're grateful for their collaboration. But recently they awarded several classroom mini grants from everything from art and music supplies to crochet materials for Barbersville Middle Schools. Very active and growing club that they have there. And teachers across the district can apply for mini grants that supports lessons, trips, resources, or other instructional needs. And they also do fundraisers and to allow for us to be able to give prize money to our teacher and service personnel of the year and have that banquet each year. And because we can't do that, and the foundation is the one who helps that happen each year, and we are thankful for them. Today, we visited the School Building Authority. It was our scheduled presentation to the SBA for the Salt Rock Elementary Needs Proposal. The project this year that we turned in for Salt Rock Elementary included a new HVAC system, fire suppression system, and drop ceilings with new lighting in the classrooms. The anticipated cost of that project is $5,412,275. We requested $4,059,207 from the SBA, with the district putting up a 25% contribution towards that at $1,353,069. It'll be a difficult decision this year for the SBA. They had over $217 million in requests, and they only have $54 million to distribute. So we will find out which one of those projects receive funding next month. Just a couple of things looking ahead. November 25th through the 29th is a fall break and Thanksgiving, and schools are closed that week. December 17th is a community open house at Milton Elementary from 4 to 6 to see the new school. So With that, that concludes my update.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to to delegations to be heard. We have any delegations?
We do have several.
Okay.
First up is Amy Neal.
Do I still have to tell who I am? Amy Neal, Cabell, 6340, union member, president of Cabell, 244 Woodmire Drive, Milton, West Virginia, 25541. I'm sure that you've seen these signs. We even had some that did a really good sign turning. Well, I know that it wasn't just us, but you are only strong as your union is. And this past weekend, we had our AFT West Virginia State Conference, or State Convention. And at that convention, we were presented Pride of the Union Award 2024, presented to Cabell AFT Local 6340. And it was basically to help flip what we didn't win in May for the levy. Now, we as a union would like for you guys to have this at the central office on loan. So you might be able to show it off. But we could only do for we're not taking the sole responsibility for helping that, but we feel like we did help.
Thank you.
So, okay, yeah.
Brandon Tenney. Tracy McClanahan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy McClanahan. I'm a teacher at Barbersville Middle School. I'm also a proud AFT member. I am vice president for 6340 local, and also I was just voted in as an executive board member for the state. I did want to bring to your attention, and I know you already know about this, the proposed PEI increases, for this year. I did want to pinpoint some of those changes if you all don't already know about those. And then also, I have a little bit of information to share for Thursday. So I just want to say some of the PEI changes are going to be increases for our active teachers and our retired teachers. That's going to be a 14% overall increase for our teachers and a 12% increase for our retirees. There's going to be a 40% deductible and out-of-pocket increase. There's going to be a 100% prescription copay increase, a $203 spousal surcharge increase, and a $100 advanced imaging copay. So as you can see, these are some very costly increases, and I wanted to make you all aware of those. I also wanted to invite you all. On Thursday, we are going to be having a rally in Charleston outside of the Cultural Center. That's going to be the last PEIA finance hearing for this time. And I just want to invite you all out before that. If you are able to come to that, we would appreciate having you. Thank you.
What time is it, Tracy?
It's at, starts at 5 o'clock. And then the meeting, I believe, starts at 6. If you do want to sign up to speak at that hearing, you can start signing up at 5:30. There will be pizza and pop and things like that, so you can have some dinner when you get there, Ms. Smalley. Okay, thank you all.
Up next is Mr. Tenney, and Mr. Tenney, I see where you all switched them on there, and I missed that. Thank you.
Thanks. First of all, I want to say that the reason you have to go to Charleston, let me start over. Brandon Tenney, I actually live in Raleigh County and Shady Spring, but I work in Cabell County and used to be a Cabell County resident. But the reason you have to go to Charleston instead of Huntington, we used to have PEI hearings at Marshall University. PEI decided that the Huntington area didn't need to be represented by hearings anymore, and that's a shame. This is a large part of PEIA with a major university in town, and it's a real shame you have to drive to Charleston to be heard. Just want to make that point. Also wanted to touch on a couple things. First of all, Tracy was elected to our state executive board. That's a big honor. We only have about 15 members on our executive board, and Amy was reelected to our state executive board. You heard Fred Albert come a few times to support your levy. He is now retired. We have a new president, Christy Skidmore from Elkins. So I have a new boss as well. Some things we did help with the levy, and of course, we were a small part of a huge community that got behind this, including the school district, the board, the parks, the libraries. Everybody rowing in the same boat helps. But what we did do, in case you're wondering, we texted our members several times, and I'm old school. I basically had to text everyone, type in their number, type in the message to over 400 people. Plus, I think it's a little more personable when it comes from my cell phone instead of a generic app. But that's my reasoning for being old. We did mailings to our members. We put signs out in the community. We did 3 honkin' waves, and those were fun. We had some help from our friends with the WVEA with that, and the lady in charge of the libraries came out and waved signs, and Allie Lehman and her mother came and helped us too, which was good. But just in the future, if you're going to have major changes to your levy, we'd like to have a seat at the table for those proposals come out. We'll get in front of it instead of behind it. Amy touched on our Pride of the Union Award. Only one local in the whole state gets that award each year, and that was a pleasure and honor for Cabell County to get that. And like Amy said, that's not just for AFT members. That was the whole county, and that's why she presented you with the award. And lastly, with PEIA, you guys do everything you can in Cabell County, and this is a really good county. You guys sometimes, I even come up here and give you a rough time every now and then. But I just want you to know, I think I've been the staff rep in Cabell County going on 15 years. I have personally never filed a grievance in Cabell County, knock on wood. I have grievances in some counties right now. They hired uncertified teachers over certified teachers. That would never happen here. I can make a phone call to this board office, and they listen because they don't want to waste your money, and I'm very appreciative of that. Attorney fees are not cheap if you outsource them, and these counties that fight me are paying $400 and $500 an hour to fight me on silly stuff, and I'm just very appreciative that this county does not do stuff like that. And I think that's about it. I just wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate your hard work. You're doing everything you can. You gave the teachers and service personnel a nice raise a few years ago, and if this PEIA proposal does pass, all your hard work may be for nothing because Kentucky and Ohio are just going to pick those people off with these insurance changes. It could be hundreds of dollars a month our members are going to lose. So thank you.
Jacob Mitchell.
My name's Jacob Mitchell. I live at 703 Water Street in Barbersville, and I wanted to come in here today and talk about something that I think is important. I talked to Linda about it earlier, and she said I should come here and speak with everyone. And last year, I was fighting to bring back the newsletter in Barbersville. Everyone wanted the newsletter back in the village, and it was an important thing to have to show transparency and everything. And when I was doing it, my 11-year-old daughter, Sydney Mitchell, and her friend Sydney Grove at the time came in. They spoke at the meeting about how the newsletter affects them and programs that could be instilled to help them to be exposed in the newsletter and work with civics. Because unfortunately, and we saw during this election, there's so much that kids learn from their parents and only from their parents. But then the parents want to tell our teachers that our teachers are the most important things in their life and teaching them what's between right and wrong. And so I had presented this to Mayor Tatum when I was talking about, along with my daughter and her friend, about a program maybe working together. It could even be a pilot program in Cabell County. I don't know if we have it already, and if you do, awesome. If you don't, I'd be happy. I have all the information written down and share it with you, where kids in elementary and middle school can be like mayor for a day, or recorder for a day, or council member for a day, or there's a lady at the senior center, Sharon, and in Barbersville, and see what it's like to work on the other side of that, not just in the politics, in the public service aspect of it, and be a senior center leader for a day. Because when your 7th grader comes home from school and tells you stuff that kids are saying in school that are obviously coming out of the mouths of their parents that are completely inaccurate, it's not that kid's fault. It's not even the teacher's fault. If the programs aren't there to teach kids how to recognize what's right and what's wrong, well then, they're just going to be left to the hands of the parents and hopefully the teachers at some point to know the difference. And I think it would be really, really awesome to expose our kids, roll out a program, even if it's a pilot program, in Cabell County, where someone in the city of Huntington, where we have so many schools, we have Milton, we have Barbersville, we have Huntington. They could go work with the new mayor in Huntington for half a day, write a paper, present it to their class. They could work with Mayor Tatum. They could work with the new mayor that just got elected in Milton. And even with that mayor, I think with the gentleman who won that seat, it's even more of something that expose kids to, because that gentleman has gone through a lot in life, and our kids need to know that they can accept people for who they are, because sometimes it's not what you look like, it's who you are on the inside, and they need to learn that. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people, if you're not left or you're right, well, you're just bad or you're good, and there's got to be somewhere in the middle where we can teach our kids how to treat each other right. And so I have come here. I made plenty of copies if y'all would like it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. But plans where kids can get involved, being mayor for a day, recorder for a day, council member for a day, anything. Because you can't just teach kids civics in 11th grade and expect them to know what to do. Like, it has to be something that's rolled out in elementary school. I taught my daughter the Constitution and the 27 Amendments in the 3rd grade, and it's awesome. But that's why I came here today. I just thought it was something that we could possibly do, and if we do have it, to roll it out even more. So, thank you.
President Pauley, can I speak for just a moment? Absolutely. Ms. Watts, if you would take a few moments when you get an opportunity to have a conversation with Mr. Mitchell, get his information and contact information and the packet that he has, please. Thank you.
Mr. Pauley, can I say something, Mr. Harston, please? Tim, I'm involved with the organization called the Youth Leadership Association, and each February we have 5 weeks of a 2-day experience at the Capitol called Youth and Government Seminars. So if there's any 8th graders in Cabell County that want to go to Charleston and experience a mock legislature and the Supreme Court and meet their delegates, love to connect them to that program.
Can you send me some information on that as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you
Yes, sir.
very much. Next, we have Monty Fowler.
I'm always the tall one. Monty Fowler, 625 South Terrace in Huntington. And yeah, thanks to you guys. It was a group effort. We all pulled together, we all did it, and the whole county benefits. So seriously, thank you. We all did it. I'm here tonight to talk about a agenda item that's coming up about, we're going to have a number of vacant school buildings in the near future, and I know you guys are going to be talking about that. And a couple of things I would like you to consider. In the past, sometimes it's been a, we've got to get rid of this, let's just give it to whoever to get it off our hands attitude. That's not healthy, and it's not always the best thing for community. I would encourage the board strongly to look at proposed uses for these buildings so that we don't end up with, say hypothetically, a guy's got a good idea for a startup, he's going to have a little incubator center, something, they move into hypothetically Meadows School, and then in 6 months he runs out of money, and you guys aren't responsible for it anymore, but it's still Meadows School in the eyes of the community. It's always going to be Meadows School. I don't care what anybody who buys it ends up calling it. But I would encourage the board to do a couple of things. Number one, not just give school property to any economic development entity of any kind under the premise that they will take it and do something with it. Because it's really not your property to give. It's the community's property. Our tax dollars went to buy that, so for the board to just kind of give it to somebody in the vague hope that maybe they'll turn it into something good at some point is not the best and highest use. And the other thing, one of my personal bugaboos is I would encourage the board to not go into the rabbit hole of faith-based substance abuse prevention efforts. Their heart's in the right place. I know they believe in what they do, and I know they believe it works, but the research and the science shows that it really doesn't. So if you're approached by people who have a proposal to use one of the buildings for that, I would encourage you to take a very critical look at it so that we don't end up with something else that Tim's going to go, why did we do that? Because we want these buildings to be used for the community's best. Thank you.
Grace Gooding.
Now I look short. Hi, so I'm Grace Gooding, and I live at 514 11th Avenue West, and all the stuff that they all said, but I have some things written down, so I just want to share with you. Looking ahead at the agenda, I'm curious, I'm sure you guys will talk about it, but make sure you talk about it, please. On the consent agenda, 5.10, $21,000 for Prisms of Reality for Crossroads Academy, which I know is some sort of VR thing, so please, when you get to that, can you explain it? I noticed there was no audio stream, Jason. Is there an audio stream and it just isn't showing up? Oh, because when I've refreshed the YouTube several times and it didn't go. Okay. 7.03, there's somebody who's been on leave since September 27th, and I don't want you to tell me anything about it. I'm just like, that seems like a long time to be on leave and not to be figured out. So I'm just wondering about that. And 8.01, the surplus real estate of the schools, and I'm just, same thing, please, please, please. My personal fear is that someone's going to sell a school for $1 to a charter school that's going to make a profit off of it, and it's going to suck all the money out of the state funding. So anyway, thank you for your time.
That concludes delegations.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move on to Section 3, Special Item Board Member Resignation. Consideration of the board to accept the resignation of a board member effective tomorrow, November 20th, 2024.
To the people of Cabell County. In May of 2024, you all made a decision to elect me to the Board of Education. Thank you for allowing me to serve our community. I believe as a community we can all agree that our children deserve the best. I promised you all that I would work tirelessly to help fix the school board budget, to make the parks and libraries whole, and together, especially thanks to Mr. Hardesty and the community, the rest of the board, we were able to make that happen. And then together, we worked to advocate for the passage of an excess levy that best reflected the needs of all the community. So thank you all for your support in that. I've done my best to show up for the school system, to visit schools, volunteer, study data in our budget, listen to the concerns and needs of our community, and have difficult conversations and advocate for what I believe is best. I believe regulations created by different agencies and laws enacted by our state and federal governments make it increasingly difficult for our county school board to make decisions that best benefit our students. Changing these regulations and laws will require massive advocacy and influence with existing leaders. Know that my heart for young people and community development, it burns brightly now as it ever has, and I look forward with great optimism to continue becoming a person who leads by example. I believe if you see a problem in this world, you should do your best to fix it, and if you can't, do your best to fix yourself. As a person who goes all in on things that I'm passionate about, it has been with careful consideration that I've determined I'm in a time in my life where I cannot go all in serving our community on the Board of Directors for Cabell County Schools. Therefore, I'll be resigning effective tomorrow to focus on my work advocating for our future generations. As a 32-year-old social entrepreneur, my business and my health, they require my full attention, and they've been built on the mission of becoming the change I wish to see in the world. It's my wish that the people of Cabell County will continue to step up like you all have, becoming and modeling the type of change you wish to see in the world. Our young people deserve that, and I'm confident in our ability to deliver. I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity I was given to represent such a special group of people, and I extend my most sincere thanks to all you for trusting me with the future of our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we need to do anything official, but it is in the minutes, will be reflected in the minutes and on the agenda. A resignation. Do we
President Polly, I believe you do need to have him. He can make it. So we would need a board member to.
Okay, so we need a
make
motion
second.
to accept the resignation of Board Member Reed Byers.
I move that we accept the resignation of Reed Byers.
And okay. Second from Ms. Smalley. Okay. All right, the motion is to accept the resignation of Reed Byers. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Motion passes. All right, that will take us to
I'll stay through board member comments.
all right, board member comments are up next, 4.01. Any board member comments at this time?
I want to thank those community members who are. Thank you, Monty. I just wanting to praise Monty and others in the community who are volunteer their time to come to these board meetings, give their opinions, their advice, their suggestions to make our schools and hence our communities better. With participation from our community is better. Thank you. In addition, another comment that I want to make is I passed out to the board members and Mr. Hardesty and those members of the school system in the back and front this program. I'm a member of West Virginia Reading Association. That is an organization mostly of elementary teachers. I am a former elementary teacher, and I did not get involved in this organization while I was a teacher. I joined a couple of years ago, and it is the members of West Virginia Reading Association are there to promote literacy across the state. We have an annual conference, which is this week. Traditionally, it's been at the Greenbrier, but they have outpriced us, and it will be at Ogleby this year. We also have literacy fairs. They're like science fairs and social studies fairs. A student or a group of students, pair of students, read a book together and then do a project on it. And those are judged and at the school level, and then there are regional fairs, county fairs and regional fairs, and that's all organized by West Virginia Reading Association. And we are working now on a state fair. So this year, as for the last couple of years that I've been involved in the organization, I've taken part in some responsibilities of the conference. And this year I made the program, and our local print shop led by Kim printed it, and I went and I was able to have access to some of them. And I passed them out to show you what an incredible opportunity we have here for professional development for reading educators, whether they're principals or in the classroom or supervisors in some other capacity. So the reason I'm bringing it up is this is a 2-day affair, Thursday and Friday. It's traditionally been those 2 days, the Thursday and Friday before Thanksgiving week. And I would like, in the future, for Cabell County to consider arranging professional development days those days, county days. Now, I'm also thinking that the West Virginia Reading Association needs to change their dates. Now, you all know I like to see change. I believe in stepping out of the box. And I think if you were planning professional development days, those 2 days, that wouldn't be great leading up to a week off. So I'm going to work with the leaders that have been around for decades with this organization to change their dates so that maybe it's in October. And I would like for our county to consider coordinating professional development days so that people don't have to get subs, because not only is Cabell County, not only do we struggle with subs, it's that way throughout the state. So once I get Cabell on board with coordinating schedules, then I'm going to go out across the state and get there so that people find it easier to come to this, to access this incredible opportunity. I had gone to Mr. Hardesty a few weeks ago to say, hey, we don't have very many. I don't think we have very many people going to this in Cabell County. I should have been here a long time ago, but could we send some? And so some now are being sent. We do have a Cabell County teacher that is a nominee for an award, and last year we had 3 Cabell County teachers, educators, nominated for awards, including Kristen Giles, who's sitting in the back, for the Madge McDaniel. She's an outstanding educator. But this year, Stephanie Meadows at Barboursville, a second grade teacher at, I think, AB kindergarten, second grade teacher at Barboursville Elementary, Village of Barboursville, has been nominated for the Eddie C. Kennedy Award. And it's really a phenomenal thing when somebody is nominated, because they have shown to their peers or to parents, whoever nominates them, that they deserve that honor. So I've said enough. Thank you for listening.
Both of my children have been blessed to have Miss Meadows, and she deserves whatever award they want to give her. So she's fabulous. Any other board member comments at this time? Okay, do we have any workshop requests?
Yes.
Okay.
We might need a workshop to talk about the possibility of coordinating our professional development 2 days with the VRA, because not every teacher is going to go up to that conference. Not every teacher who's a literacy teacher is going to go to that conference. We would need to talk about what could we do maybe to enhance it for them. I would like to brainstorm possibilities for doing that in the future. But, all this stuff is planned way out, as are the Cabell County school schedules. And so I think it's something that we need to early on talk about.
May I speak? One of the things I think we need to think about doing, if that's a direction, we probably need to make sure that we address that in the calendar committee, which we are working on a calendar now, and having that as a possible option for our staff members and the community to take a look at. But that would be something that we probably need to reach out to. Are you the one working through that, Ms. Watts? Because that would be, we do a workshop in the future, and we've already set a calendar, it's hard to go back and change that, so.
Okay. All right, if nothing else, we'll move right along to what is section 5 this evening, the consent agenda. Several different items on there, board meeting minutes, policy updates, the things that Mr. Boggs had spoken to us about as far as the new Milton Elementary, a new postage machine, agreements with Walgreens, CVS, Valley Health. We do have the Prisms hardware and software licensure for Crossroads Academy, and some full day attendance exemption request, and then we have some trips for a few of our schools. So if no one has anything to specifically discuss on those, we can have a motion for approval.
Well,
Right. I'm sorry. I was just going to say something about prisms.
I was going to too, because she specifically asked about that.
Well, I just wanted to point out on there, that is actually a classroom set. And the reason we would like to have a classroom set is because it can be used in other schools besides just Crossroads. And we already have Lisa Burris, who spoke with us last meeting, who is already going to be, she is going to be working on the training, and Maggie Chenoweth. They're going to work on the training and implementing that at Crossroads. But it'll also give us the latitude to have those units in classroom sets to be used at Huntington Middle School, Huntington East Middle, Barbersville, because and at the Career Tech. So one of the things we heard is they have to share those. And while that's great and we do that, this is going to give us another set to be able to share across the district as well.
So I'd like to answer Grace's question about that. Maybe you weren't here at the last meeting 2 weeks ago, but a couple of math teachers shared their experiences using those headsets, and just what a phenomenal learning experience it is for students, really understanding a math concept. And then we saw the schools that had them, and we saw that Crossroads did not. And so there was the suggestion to order them for that school too. And so.
Good. Okay. Anything else on the consent agenda? Any other items for discussion or a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, we have the motion by Ms. Smalley, second by Ms. Childers. Okay, the motion is for approval of the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, the financial section, Mr. Rodkin.
Thank you, President Polly. Good evening, board members. It's good to see everybody this evening. On the finance agenda this evening, just 3 items. We've got the treasurer's report for October. That's available in your binder. We've got the vouchers payable. Again, we started that new format about a month ago, so this is your second chance to kind of see the way we have things lined up. And we also have an item to amend our salary schedules related to the specialized healthcare supplement that is provided for in state code. It's for service employees, particularly aides and secretaries who provide some kind of a medical service to some of our students. They receive training for it, but because they do so, they also receive an additional pay grade. So this item we're asking approval for this evening puts us in full compliance with state code, make sure that we're getting everybody a full pay grade increase. Do you all have any questions for me this evening?
I do not have any questions.
Okay, well, thank you all.
I would just say to my fellow board members that with Mr. Rockin mentioning the new way that vouchers are sent out along with the old way, if you look at the old way and look at each of the vouchers, if you come across a question that you have, you can easily cross-reference that with the new document that he sends, which is way too long to look at, 200 pages this time, I think, 200, a little over 200. But you can easily cross-reference, use the Control F function, and you can search for keywords or dollar amounts in that new document, and it'll provide you with more detail on individual payments that were made. So just FYI, I found it easier to do that. So if we don't have any other questions or concerns, we'll just look for a motion for approval of the financial section.
So moved that we approve the financial.
Okay, Ms. Neely has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Smalley. The motion is for approval of the financial section as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Hearing none, the motion passes. And that takes us to section 7, personnel. We have a few items on there. a few administrative leave and employee discipline items that we would need to. Yes, ma'am.
I just realized this.
Yes.
On page 11.
Mm-hmm. It's 5, I think, or maybe 6 this time. Ye- Yes. Do you want to go ahead and recruit and do that now, and we'll take care of that item, and then we'll take care of the rest? Okay. Miss Smalley has a need to recuse herself from a particular item on the personnel section. And so we have the item listed on page 11. It's the last item above 7.02. It's, I believe, 5105-P, Employment and Coaching Professional Personnel. Rashana Smalley, P8753. So we would just need a motion to approve that particular item.
I move that we approved Rashana Smalley at Huntington Middle, cheerleading coach under the professional personnel.
Okay, we've had the motion by Ms. Neely.
Second.
Have a second by Ms. Childers. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. And so that one will pass. I'll give Ms. Smalley. Oh, come back. Okay, we do have a couple of items on there. If anybody wants to discuss, I think we may need to go into executive session for a discussion on those, so.
President Pauley, if you wanted to go ahead and approve the rest of 7.01 and then all of 7.02, because you'll probably need to do the 4 of these individually.
Got you. All right. Thank you for the guidance there. 7.01 and 7.02 is the regular professional personnel and service personnel sections. If we could have a motion to approve those.
I move that we approve 7.01 professional personnel and .02 for service personnel.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Childers,
Second.
and a second by Ms. Neely. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. We have approved 7.01 or 7.01, 7.02. That takes us over to page 13 and 7.03, 04, and 05, and 06. To go into executive session to have a discussion on any of those items.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Okay, we have a motion to go into executive session for personnel,
Second.
and we have a second for Ms. Neely. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. We are now in executive session to discuss personnel.
motion, we come back into regular session.
Okay, we have a motion to come back in regular session by Ms. Smalley. Ms. Neely has seconded. All in favor of returning to open session signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? No, we're back into regular session. We left off at 7.03, administrative leave of professional personnel. The superintendent recommends that the board ratify the administrative leave of Anna Meisner with pay that began September 27th, 2024, and will continue until a resolution is reached. I just need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Okay. Ms. Childers has made the motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation on 7.03. Ms. Neely has seconded. All in favor of accepting the recommendation for 7.03 signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? No. So 7.03 has been taken care of. We'll go to 7.04. The superintendent recommends a 2 varsity game suspension for John Dennison. I need a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Ms. Neely, seconded by Ms. Smalley. All in favor of the superintendent's recommendation for 7.04 signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? No. 7.05, the superintendent recommends a 3 varsity game suspension for Robert Cook. You have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Ms. Childers has made the motion. Ms. Smalley has seconded. All in favor of the superintendent's recommendation for 7.05 signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? None. Okay. 7.06, the superintendent recommends the termination of the contract for Erica DeVita. Do you have a motion on that?
So moved.
Ms. Neely has made the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Smalley. All in favor of accepting the superintendent's recommendation for 7.06 signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? None. And-
President Polly.
Yes.
I hate to interrupt. We have a member of the audience who did not know they were supposed to sign up for delegation that would like to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
Laverne Lacey. They weren't done.
Oh,
There you go.
my name's Laverne Lacey, and I live at 5289 Long Branch Road, Barbersville, West Virginia. And I am interested in the Davis Creek Elementary School. I would like to make an antique and young artist, starving artist place for it, and for collectibles and stuff like that. And I would be interested in the school. So it would be a good thing for the community, for the people around the area, and there's not one on this side of town. Everything's down on 14th Street West, and there's nothing on the east side. So I would like to get that if it's possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I believe we're ready to move on to Section 8, special board items and a discussion on surplus and real property and appraisals. Mr. Boggs.
We did.
We did. We handled them all.
I got it.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Smalley, and the rest of 1 and 2, and then we just did 3 through 6. We're good.
I'm pretty good.
We good?
We're good.
I think so.
All right, board president, board members, and superintendent general counsel, I do have, this is going to take a little bit of time depending on the conversations that are going to be had with that. So what you have in front of you is you've got a white binder here and just says real property, Cabell County Schools on it. So if you want to get that out, I'm going to kind of walk you through, I guess, as a old middle school teacher and, walking students through what they're having in front of them. I just want to kind of, give you the lay of the land and what's in front of you, the information and how it's organized to make sure everybody knows what they're looking at. So in this binder, Jason, you can go ahead and go on to the next slide. So on the left-hand side of this binder, you're going to find two different documents on the left-hand side of this binder. The first one is going to be the policy, which is policy 7300, disposition of real property. So this is what this does. This is a Cabell County school policy. It tells you the different options we have, and we'll talk about that here in a few moments, of how we can dispose of property that aligns with West Virginia State Code. So there's some options with that. Also on that left-hand side, you're going to find another document that is going to be appraisals and associated costs. It's going to look like this on that left-hand side in the pocket. This is just a good overview, and the reason that it's not actually in the binder, in the three-ring binder, is because when you're looking at the different properties, you can compare each of them when you go through and look at the different appraisals for that. So you've got the school, the appraiser, that's the company that did the appraisal for us, or the person that did the appraisal for us, when that approximate date that was completed. We've got some that were completed in January of 22, all the way up to most recently in August of 24 with the Career Center, current Career Center. So those properties that we're going to be looking at are going to be Highlawn, Meadows, Milton Elementary, Davis Creek, and the current Career Center. Even though we're not ready to vacate that because the Woody Williams Center is being constructed right now, that's one of those we've got to start thinking about with that. Then you're going to have a demolition demo cost. Now, these are approximate numbers when you look at this. This is not, we reached out to a vendor that does demolition. They were able to kind of give us approximate costs of this. So it is estimates. They didn't spend hours and hours and hours on it. They just, kind of did a drive-by to give us an idea of what that would cost. And then the asbestos abatement range, they had to work with another vendor to say, by looking at our asbestos books that we have at each of these sites, so what asbestos is in there, they were able to take a quick look at those and give us a price range of that. So you're going to see like Highlawn Elementary on there. That shows the demo cost is going to be approximately $250,000. The asbestos abatement estimated range is $136,000 to $275,000. The reason being is there's things like windows that they don't really know if it has asbestos in it, depending on the glazing when they go in and test it, different things like that. So it can be a little bit different, and then the roofing material and stuff. So that's got asbestos, roofing, and different things like that to kind of break that down for you.
Just a note, I think it's important to understand that that would be the cost for a school district. School districts, in general, have a particular way that we have to do asbestos abatement. A lot of private companies, a lot of governmental agencies even, don't have to follow the same standards because we work with children. And so we have a different measure, and it's a much more extensive cost for asbestos abatement for us than it is for most entities. So just wanted to share that.
All right, so that's just kind of got a quick overview of that. And again, these are estimates; these are not exact numbers that you're looking at. So, in your binder, you're going to see the first tab is going to be the Cabell County. They're in alphabetical order. The Cabell County Career and Technical Center. And then if you want to go ahead and turn to that, the first page that you see under the Cabell County Career and Technical Center, that's going to be a tax map from the Cabell County Assessor's Office doing a tax, so you can see kind of an overview map of that. Then you're going to see right directly behind that, you're going to see an appraisal. It's kind of a lengthy document. It's got, just like you would have an appraisal on a house, it's got comps on that. It's got all the details, very, very long report for each one of these. And then at the end of that, so that each of those are going to have that. And then you will also find abatement costs and different things like that. Now, you're not going to find abatement cost in this one because there is no we didn't get a proposal on that. That building's in relatively good, condition compared to some of the other ones that we have in front of that we're kind of bringing to you today. So that's just kind of a just an overview of what's in your binders. So when we kind of get into this and the how you dispose of property on the next page, and this is, I think, the third page in your presentation, is the whole purpose of this is to sell, lease unused school property, or donate some of those things. So there's the kind of the definitions, and to kind of reiterate some of these things, the real property is the land and structures, not movable item, and personal property. This is not personal property. This is just, we're dealing with the real property. So the sale process of this is we must sell by public auction unless it is sold to government bodies or nonprofits for community use. In rural areas, originally sellers can repurchase if sold below market value. So some of the things on there, it's really going to be, it's going to be an auction, it's going to be a donation to a nonprofit or a government entity. It could be a city or something like that. So those are some of the options that you have. So as far as those requirements in the policy is we have to have an updated independent appraisal before the sale or auction of that, and the buyer assumes all liability of the property of the hazards. Leasing is an option on this, and for unneeded properties, but it has to go, there's lots of restrictions with that. And Drew, have we leased many properties in the past? Yeah, okay, so that is an option as well. So that's just kind of an overview on that page. So we're going to go on, and we kind of did already went over this slide as far as each of these things. Again, we can kind of start with Hylon on the next page here. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions, and you're probably going to have to take time to digest this, and it's probably going to take multiple meetings for that. But the potential options, when I say the potential options, I don't want to say, well, here's what I want to do. This is not about me. This is the board members deciding what they want to do, what's going to be best for the community, the school board, the students, the community, and they make those decisions on those things. I can tell you, as far as in the position I'm in, I get a lot of people that contact me and say, this is what I would like to do. Just like a lady that was up here a few moments ago, that was one thing that she would want to do with that. We've had other groups that reach out to us, churches have reached out to us, and various other groups and government organizations have reached out saying that they are interested in that. And then what I say to them is, it's really not up to me, it's up to the board members on what they decide that they want to do with that, and encourage them to come to a board meeting like this to be able to hear that and express their opinions on that. So Davis Creek Elementary, the first one on here is several churches and businesses have reached out to me saying that they are shown interest into that. I don't want to use all of their names unless they specifically say they want to do that or want me to divulge that information. But there has been a lot of interest in that property as well. The Hylon Elementary community members have expressed interest in that site. But we did get in some of these we've got the demolition cost and stuff. And I will say, that property, we moved out of that building for a reason. We moved out of all these buildings for a reason, because they're older buildings and we wanted newer facilities for those. So there has been, there's different options for that as well. Meadows Elementary, that's probably the one that we get more inquiries on than anything, is just based on its location at Meadows Elementary. So several businesses and community members have reached out on that as well. Milton Elementary, we actually have a gentleman here today, Mr. Adkins, that is as long as he's still here. It's a long meeting. He had actually reached out and wanted to have a meeting just to ask some questions last year, knowing that we were building a new Milton Elementary School, and he is here on behalf of the youth athletic, Milton Youth Athletic League, the youth athletics in interest in the property, and they've got some plans and kind of proposals of what they may want to do with something along those lines, as well as Mr. Hardesty. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to share with the board. I've also had a conversation with Mayor-elect Evans in Milton. He would love the opportunity to have that facility for the city. He has some great ideas for that property, and one of those would be working with the Youth League. And I know you all have had that conversation as well. And and I know Dr. Sachs had conversations with Mayor Williams in the past. I was included in a couple of those. I've had a conversation with Mayor-elect Farrell as well. The city is interested in Meadows and High Lawn to make sure that whatever is done there, they would love to see it be a benefit to the community. And they would like to have some, at least some thought when we go to dispose of these, to think of those entities as well. So I just wanted to share that.
And then on to the Career Center, that as well, as you're going to see, as the appraisals on there, we just recently had that done as well. That's a very large property as far as acreage and different things like that. Go ahead.
And we've discussed many times about moving some things to the Career Center, and I believe last year there was a salt shed constructed there.
That is correct.
That our maintenance department uses and will be using this winter as well.
Yes, sir.
Tell us again the timeline on the completion of the Woody Williams.
So as of right now, again, there's timelines change depending on if it just takes one electrical component to bring a whole project to a complete halt. But right now, it does look like we're going to be in the Woody Williams Center, move into there January of 26. So it'll be a year from, just about a little over a year from now.
Sure. Thank you.
So yeah, we're still going to have those students in there the rest of this year and at least half of next year, and that's just assuming that everything goes well, and it has so far. And I know, like Superintendent had stated, that there was that end of the building that we have down here at the board office where the maintenance is and crossroads and stuff like that. I can tell you that there is, every time it rains outside, it rains inside in various parts. We've got our food service down there, not raining on food, but we do have freezers down there that we put in that we have. Again, we talk about, being able to service our kids and stuff. We have these freezers down here. We can, if a freezer is down, we can move food down here, but it rains. We have people in there cleaning it up. We've patched the roof over. There's just a lot of decisions that need to be made. Is that something we need to invest in a new roof down there? Or, when we vacate this, the maintenance department, the Career Center, the old Career Center, the current Career Center, would be set up for maintenance. It has high bay areas. You would still have, you could be able to, put the trucks up there. If you would want to move Crossroads Academy students up there, it's in a little more central location, different things like that. That's really ultimately up to you all. That's not my decision. Just certain options there, but it would provide our maintenance department. This is really not set up over here in an alley to unload and load trucks and different things like that, and a lot of equipment, a lot of money in those things. That would provide a little more space for them to work on those things. And with our salt and spreader racks and stuff, it would allow them, it would actually cut down significantly on their time in response to ice and snow, because they would already have the trucks up there if that was the case and be able to do it. However, we've done it down here for a long time, and we can continue to do it down here. That's just ultimately up to the board for that. So those are just potential options. There are as many other people that they say, listen, I'm interested in this. Don't bring my name up in it or anything, but we're interested in that. Now, one of the things that Drew had pulled some numbers, and he may want to speak about this in a moment. But as far as auctioning things off, historically, auctioning things off, and Drew, do you want to talk a little bit about that historically, what that's kind of done in the district, or I can share it. I've got it. He actually pulled this for us right here. So, and am I okay to go ahead and share that, just historical information? So back in 2018, Geneva Kent, the appraised value of that was $615,500, and the highest bid was $130,000, which is approximately 21%. Not making the appraisal doesn't, your number may be up here, but the actual what you get in an auction is not going to be that, or not likely. Peyton Elementary, appraised value $272,000, highest bid was $42,000. That's 15% of the appraisal price. And Park Hills was $284,000. The highest bid was $140,000, and that was 49% of the appraised value. So that's just historically. Thank you, Drew, for pulling that. historically what the appraised and reality of what we got in an auction. Ms. Childers.
So can we look at how those buildings are being used today, so that when you just put it up on the auction block and you're just allowing anybody and everybody to bid on it, what the results can be? I mean, if we looked at what is happening in those buildings today.
If you drive to those buildings today and look at them, you will see a myriad of things. Some are being utilized well, some are still sitting vacant. And so when we auction it off, we lose control of that. And whoever the highest bidder is doesn't always have a community mindset. They're looking at different things. Sometimes they do, but they have different uses in mind for it. And I believe we heard earlier, sometimes they have good intentions and it doesn't pan out for one reason or another. And so you'll see at least one of those still sitting vacant and is a nice one in the community. And while we don't own that and we have no control over that, it still has our name on the front of it. So.
Can you ever, okay, so I know nothing about this, but I'm just asking, is it possible to put in conditions? Like if you have left, if 24 months later, if the building that you bought is an eyesore, it's reverting back to Cabell County Schools. I mean, is there a way to, lawyer, is there a way to do that?
I believe there is something in policy if there's upfront agreement or upfront in the terms, maybe 5 years down the road and they haven't done anything, it can revert back. Is that
so? If it's sold at auction, there are two issues with that. One is you could have a legal battle, which we may be able to win. Two is if you look at the asbestos abatement and the demo cost, that becomes the responsibility of the school at that point. And so that to take a building back that we sold for, as you heard, a very small percentage.
21% of the
right.
estimated value.
And then turn around and spend $150,000, $200,000 for asbestos abatement and another $250 to $300 to demo it, to have a vacant lot there, and then what do we do with that vacant lot?
Okay, well, that's assuming that 2 years down the line, you don't have another purchaser who's out there now
That's
says,
true.
oh, well, you know,
That's true.
I want to do something with it.
That's true. Didn't think of that.
That's why you have me here.
Yes, that did. That actually happened at Geneva Kent. Yes, it's sold and then sold again. Yes.
It's being well utilized.
Yes, it
right
is.
now.
It is being well utilized.
Yes.
It's true.
So it's really a lot of information in here for you all to digest, and I apologize. I feel like I was talking in circles today. I'm kind of off my game today, but on this last page here, this just kind of like now what? You've got all this information in front of you. You've got the appraisal review of the property and assess the value the value of these properties. You've got, you know, as far as question and information request, you know, address, you know, what additional details do you all need? Are there any questions you have on these individual properties up to this point that you would have?
One question that I have regarding Hylon and Meadows are, you know, the Hylon's appraisal is almost 3 years old. Meadows' appraisal is over 2 years old. Is that too old? Do we need to have a new appraisal? I mean, they're costly,
We've
I know that.
actually reached out to Bowles Rice to get clarification on that, and it does. I think code says that it has to be a recent appraisal. That's kind of open for interpretation, and I think everybody's got a different opinion on that.
I'm sure.
But I think, you know, not that I'm not an attorney, but that does seem to be fairly recent in that. But if you would prefer and that we get that done again, we can obviously entertain that if need be.
I'm not sure if it's necessary or not, or how much has changed in 3 years, but it was just something that came to my mind when
Absolutely.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, we actually, Drew and I have had that discussion about that. What is a recent appraisal?
Okay, and I have a question too. Why does it have to be on the auction block? Why can't you have a price on it and wait for a little while and see if you get your price?
Well, because the state code doesn't allow that, that we can't just put something out for sale. That's not one of the, that's what you referred to in the policies in here. We only have certain ways we can dispose of real property. However, you can put an auction out and put a reserve on it to where you meet a certain threshold.
A bottom price?
Yes.
It's similar when we're getting rid of other excess property as far as vehicles and stuff like that. We have to auction those off as well on those things. So we had an auction this past summer, and similar with real property as well.
So I want to say thank you, Mr. Boggs, for producing this. It's a large notebook. And I'd like to thank the public for coming out. There's clearly some interest across our county in these buildings, and I appreciate that. And I know the board has a job to do as far as selling versus usage in the community and what makes our community a better, stronger community. At the end of the day, that's what we all want. A little bit of a selfish issue here for myself. If the board is going to entertain having these properties go into the hands of other entities or other people, I would encourage us to do so as soon as we can. And the reason I say that, last year during the legislative session, there was a bill that was introduced to require the first option to be to charter schools if you have a vacant building and you go to dispose of it. I did not pass. There's a concern it'll be brought back up because a lot of times things are. It seems like a lot of times in legislation, if it doesn't go the first time or second time, it does eventually. So I would just encourage the board to digest the information you have. As you have questions, please reach out, and we can put this as a discussion item on the next meeting. We can even discuss it on we have a board workshop the first Monday in December. We can have a brief discussion there to see if there's a point that you'd like to place something on an agenda so you all can have a decision or take action. But we will be at your disposal for anything that you have questions for. It takes a while to gather some of that, but we'll make sure that we do that for you. If there's entities that you'd like to discuss things with, that's certainly allowable as well. I know some of the things that the usages for some of these properties, and we heard one this evening, are very good ideas for our community. And I know the city of Milton, some of the things that they would like to see come to that space there would certainly help there. And I know that Mayor-elect Farrell has some of those same ideas here in Huntington. So I just wanted to share that with the board.
One other thing, Superintendent, is important to note. On Meadows, you're going to see two different appraisals on that. It's the only one that has two different appraisals. One is the value with the building, and one is the value without the building. So you're going to see two different appraisal numbers on that. So you're going to see the first one with the building, and then right behind that, you're going to see it without. So are there any questions? I'll be happy to answer those, and if not, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to gather any information, get any answer any questions you have as quickly as I possibly can. Thank you.
We have quite a bit of things to consider, and as it pertains to this. So I think it's going to take just a little bit of time, but I think we just have to consider. I feel like there's two things we have to consider. We have a fiduciary responsibility for Cabell County schools, and we also have a responsibility to our community to make sure that we don't create eyesores within the community and things. So we got to work to find the perfect mix of the two, and hopefully we can come to something that will be responsible to both of those duties that we have as board members. So, update on current legal issues is the next section. We have no update on current legal issues. Other than that, we have adjournment. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Neely has made the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I second.
Ms. Childers seconds. And all in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, no. Adjourned at 6:36 p.m. Thank you.